affiliation and totally say, I will serve the beast. It was people who were able to drop all American affection, all love for the country, and serve the beast agenda first and foremost. What the beast was looking for was loyalty. And when you were loyal and you proved it by passing the different stages of tests, for they were constantly testing people, even if you had no natural political skill, even if you could not speak, even if you were not particularly likable, even if you had no charm like President Kennedy or President Clinton, none of that disqualified you. You could enter public office and you could shoot to very powerful positions. As the new government was establishing itself, this iron spider that I used to speak about in 2020 and 2021, favors and jobs were handed out based on who you knew. This is called nepotism. Nepotism is the act of favoring friends and family and close people. It's the act of using connections to give positions rather than using skill, ability, or merit. So based on who you knew, you could go up, or the government had this system called commissioning. They would call specifically for a person to come and work for them based on criteria that they may or may not disclose to the person. You would simply get this embossed invitation telling you that you are hereby invited. That word invited wasn't actually invitation. You were being told to report to Washington, D.C., or wherever they will be, to go there and work there. And that was the choice you had, to go and work. Inside the government, there was no loyalty whatsoever. So you could enter in. That was absolutely no guarantee that you would last, that you would get to the end. People could be extinguished out of this government as easily as they got in. They were extinguishing people. When I say extinguishing, this is death. Nothing else but death. Exterminated from within the structure, outside the structure, meaning the citizens. And the general attitude in the government was take nothing for granted and watch your back. And now this is what this was like. I had 6 dreams and I can only remember 3 of them. After a while, when I kept going back into that dream, basically my brain just did not want to hold that information. So I lost 3 of the dreams, but I remember 3, and each of them started the same way and they ended up different. So each time the dream started out, I would find myself standing on the street. I was just standing on the street in what looked like an average American neighborhood. You know, those neighborhoods with a road in the middle and then the houses are here and the houses are here. I was just standing in an average American neighborhood like that. And somehow I was able to see almost the whole country. So I was able to see the areas where the tall buildings meant, oh, that's a built up city like New York or Chicago. And then I could also see rural areas. I could see the different areas. It always started with this massive flag of Kamala Harris being hoisted, not on a flagpole, but it was just being raised up into the sky. A huge flag of this woman, a huge flag raising into the heavens of her. And the minute I started to see that flag going up, this terrible seizing fear would grip my heart. Then after that, I would see the flag now being raised at the White House, a flag of Kamala Harris's face. So it was her face smiling brightly, the whole flag raised over the White House on a flagpole. Then I started to see these huge polymer billboards. You know, the one where you can print something very long like a banner? Then you go to the top of a skyscraper and you push it over and it rolls down the building. I started to see that. I started to see real billboards. I started to see people posting bills on the wall. So posters of Kamala Harris, you rub glue and then you put the poster of her. I started to see people putting that on the wall, and I started to see them handing out flyers with her face on it throughout the neighborhoods. So that is how each dream started. Even the other 3 that I do not remember, all of them started that way. And as soon as the big flag would go up into the sky over America, my heart would just begin squeezing. And I learned later that this is the collective fear of the country. This is the fear that entered people's hearts because nobody is used to that kind of obvious communist propaganda in this country, unless it's an election cycle where we see the ads on TV and maybe the guy will put up a billboard or two in his sign, vote for whoever. But to be going door to door, handing out flyers, posting posters of a person, raising a flag of this person over the White House, to actually see the representation of this person rising into the heavens to show, I am here. I am now the principality over this nation. It was tough. And it was reminding me every time the dream started, my heart would be like, Chairman Mao did this in China. And you know, Chinese people, they are accustomed to this style of leadership. Americans have never seen this type of stuff in their lives. These flags, these posters, they were at all the state houses. They were at all the gubernatorial mansions. They were at all the council houses, everywhere that the government met, everywhere the government sat to do any types of deliberations, including at the courts, anywhere that government officials lived. It was required that there will be a photo there, or there will be a poster there, or there will be a flag there. And this thing caused so much unrest, so much fear in America, because this is uncharacteristic for this nation. This is Leninist stuff. This is the stuff that Mussolini was doing. This is not done here. Excuse me, please. So in the first dream, the flag went up, and there was this feeling of dread, like, oh no, this is not good. This cannot be happening. Then I began to see the army in the street. The army was deployed, so many soldiers, and those soldiers were not going against any enemy. The citizens were the enemy. The people were the enemy. The army was deployed against us. And I didn't exactly know the crimes, what those crimes were. But is it possible for us to have committed so many crimes that they are going after all of us indiscriminately? There was pandemonium. There was fighting. Some people were trying to resist, but the majority of people were fleeing every which way. And the cops, these forces, were grabbing whoever they can and detaining people on false charges. It was immediate detention, no lawyer, no bail. In addition, there were kill lists. I have spoken about these kill lists. I have said, by the Spirit of God revealing these things to me, that they will widen the scope of crimes so much that people can be accused of being guilty for virtually anything. I think the prophecy is called Pogroms. I saw that the place is called the Office of Citizen Affairs. In the Office of Citizen Affairs, that office never closes. Everybody who works there is a female. The women that I saw in the vision were dressed in a 60s style. Everybody came to work in a skirt, and they had these, they were favoring these kind of cat's eye glasses, and they had those old classic hairstyles, and they were working on typewriters. They did not have any computers. They were working on typewriters and stuff like that, and they were typing up death orders day and night. They worked by shift. That office never closed. And those men that are in the all black, they would come in and they would just go to the out tray, and they would grab a bunch of orders and then go out and fulfill them. They would stand around, they would lift their helmet for a while, they would talk and joke with the women, then they would go out and execute those orders. Executing those orders meant once your order was filled, those men would come to your house. They had orders to look for you. They would come to you and get you and then indefinitely detain you. And in most people's cases, indefinite detention meant death. So they were hunting down certain people to kill them. And in the case of those certain people, the order was find these people and exterminate them. So they weren't even going to bring you back for detention. Certain people, it was said, find them, kill them, no questions asked. And there was so much fear in the atmosphere that as soon as I saw which way the wind was blowing with all this stuff, I ran away with a friend of mine to my mother's house. And I do not like putting any information out. about myself and my family in these dreams, but the urgency on me from the Lord to tell this dream, because it is not only me